Hello, and welcome to Filmsquatch, the podcast where two guys from the Deep South watch and review movies about Bigfoot. It's that simple. Each episode takes a look at a single film about a Sasquatch or a Yeti, and the guys break it down for you. Patrick and Kendall are true believers, but they're too old, too fat, and too lazy to get up off their sofas and go hunt for a Sasquatch themselves. So they just sit back and watch movies about them. Now, let's head over to the Filmsquatch screening room, where Patrick and Kendall are ready to discuss their latest film.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another wonderful episode of Filmsquatch with yours truly, Kendall Fontenot. And with me, as always, is the steady hand that rocks the boat, Patrick Bennett. How you doing, Patrick?
I'm fine, Kendall, man. Doing all right?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Man, I brought something for show and tell before we start.
Really?
I saw a snack advertised on Amazon when I was browsing through some Bigfoot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it's made in Kingston, Jamaica. And it is a Bigfoot snack called, and I thought it was great to tie into this episode because it's just simply called Bigfoot. And this is a cheese snack in the shape of a three-toed Bigfoot.
Kind of like the Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Pretty much the Falk monster, yeah. So this is a Falk snack. Jamaica just doesn't know it. But yeah, it's I'm gonna go ahead and bust this open and show you. Oh, my dog's getting up here. He's already tried and he knows what it is. He loves them. It's kind of like Cheetos Puffs, but
Okay.
it's shaped like a little Bigfoot track foot.
Okay.
But it's three-toed, just like the Falk monster, the legend of Boggy Creek here. And I'm going to give this one to my dog. Here, buddy. You want it? Come on. You can have it. Here. He don't want to jump up here. He's going to crunch it now. But yeah, it's a little three-toed. Well, that one. All right. And they're kind of like Cheeto Puffs, but they're not as good. The cheese is different flavor. It's not can't really see the toes on that one.
It almost looks like the Cheetos hot fries, the hot Cheetos.
Yeah, there you go. The cheese is not as good as our American Cheetos. It's got like a flatter, I don't know if that's the right word, but a flatter taste. But yeah, but I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. When we have our Boggy Creek Monster Mingle, since these are like a Falk monster foot, the first three people that come up to me and say, I want to taste a three-toed Bigfoot, gets a bag. I bought them in bulk. And I'll save a bag for you, senor.
Oh, that's okay. You can give
So
them to
you
somebody
too
else.
can experience the taste of the Falk monster.
I don't want Bigfoot toe cheese. So
All right, man. What do we have for our listeners today?
we're hopping into the Wayback Machine, and we're going all the way back to 1970.
What a decade. I love the decade of the 70s.
And depending on how you view it, we're talking about a film that's either a classic or it's just cheese-tastic. I think that's the best way to put it. And of course, we're talking about 1970s Bigfoot, starring John Carradine, Joi Lansing, John Mitchum, and Christopher Mitchum, among many other actors.
Hello, Sheriff. It's something terrible's happened.
Another one of them preacher stories, only this one tops them all. It took off with this girl, he thinks.
What do these creatures want? The only thing I can figure out is that they're a dying race. They want to reproduce more of their own kind.
Catch one.
We can live high on the hog for the rest of our lives.
But all I want to do is get my girl back.
I got guns and lights out in the car.
Stop!
They're practically subhuman. Except that they still look like animals. How horrible.
That's my kid up there!
Oh, this film takes place in the California area, and it's purportedly shot in areas where Bigfoot had been sighted. They mentioned that at the end of the film. I don't know if it was Humboldt County, but some of it did look like the Patterson-Gimlin film footage. Some of the scenery reminded me of it. But basically, this film is about a group of it's a motorcycle gang, but it looks more like a beach blanket bingo gang cruising through the forests.
Yeah.
And
listen, Frankie Avalon should have been in this.
Exactly. And Bigfoot decides to kidnap a couple of pretty ladies, and one of the bikers goes after him. And then John Carradine plays an enterprising individual who sees money and decides to go on the hunt for this Bigfoot creature as well. And that pretty much sums up the entire film.
I know, Kendall, you love John Carradine.
Oh yeah,
from a lot of movies he's been in, like Dracula. He's made a werewolf movie here and there. even a Frankenstein ripoff type movie. He's been in a lot of horror movie, low budget stuff.
Yep.
I think I remember him best from Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
But also all the horror movies I grew up watching when I was a kid. But I want to talk about he's got 3 famous kids who are also actors that I bet most of you have seen or heard of. Of course, David Carradine, old Kung Fu himself. Kung Fu. I am Kane. I will help you. Good actor, but died too quickly there from a accident that we won't talk about. But also Keith Carradine is his other son. I loved him in Southern Comfort. He played, of course, in Deadwood, the Western TV series, Long Riders, a lot of good movies there. And then Robert Carradine, who always brings a smile to my face when I think about Robert, because he's probably best known as Lewis from all the Revenge of the Nerds movies. They made 5 of them, and he played the main nerd Lewis in every one of them. So yeah, a great family there. Good acting family legacy with the Carradines.
Yeah, and he was a contemporary of John Barrymore, and of course the Barrymore family has been in films forever. Most of our listeners probably know who Drew Barrymore is. One of my biggest crushes from the 90s, and still a big old crush for him. Man, I love me some Drew Barrymore. We're about the same age. It's perfect.
I want to say another famous acting family. We've got Chris Mitchum in here. Of course, he's Robert Mitchum's son. And I'll tell you what I liked about Chris Mitchum when I was a kid. Man, he played in some good John Wayne westerns. In fact, my favorite John Wayne movie is Big Jake. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's in there. He plays with John Wayne's son alongside him. They play brothers in Big Jake. Did a good job. But also he was in Rio Lobo and a lot of other cool movies. But yeah, I want to talk about someone else in this movie, Ken Maynard. And Ken plays the store owner. He doesn't have a huge role in here, but I'll tell you what, to me, he's the most famous person in this movie. And I don't know if probably most of you out there have never even heard of this guy. Kendall, have you heard of him besides this
Ken Maynard? He was in a bunch of westerns.
Dude, a bunch. You hit it right there, man. He's been in over 90.
Every western ever made.
In his career. And I consider him, in my personal, judgment here, as the top 5 cowboy western movie stars of all time. I think he's up there. And something that you and I would really like is the fact that he was in the 1934 Mascot Pictures 12-chapter cliffhanger serial, Mystery Mountain. So he's a serial actor. Very, very cool cowboy. And I love them putting him in here, but I also like that in his store over by the phone is a movie poster of one of his westerns. that
He
he
did,
starred
yep.
in. That was awesome. That was a nice little tribute to him there.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
But
And, for me, John Carradine, I mean, he's the lesser Dracula. I mean, you've got Bela
yeah,
Lugosi,
your
and then when
budget Dracula.
Lugosi had his little conflict with Universal, well, wasn't a little, it was a very big conflict of
Right.
interest with Universal. Um, John Carradine pretty much took over the role of Count Dracula, and to me, Carradine was one of those actors who he was such a great actor, but his career just kind of fizzled. And he ended up, like you said, he started doing all those B horror movies. He had, small roles in a lot of films. I mean, like The Howling. He was in The Howling. He was in just a ton of movies. But to me, he doesn't get the respect that a lot of his contemporaries received, just because it was almost like he was always the second fiddle. He was
Yeah.
always the replacement guy. Um, but yeah, I thought that I think that John Carradine is an amazing actor, and I think he does a great job in this film, considering what he's got to work with here. I mean, he plays that rascally, conniving entrepreneur
Yeah.
out to make money. I mean, he does a good job at it.
I love his look, man. He's
Yeah.
so tall and lanky. He's kind of got that sunken, long face and stuff.
Yep.
And I mean, when he played in Grapes of Wrath, he was perfect for that part because of that look. He looked like
Yes.
somebody in the Dust Bowl back then. Just a vagabond, just down on his luck. When he's traveling city to city, But he had that look to him, and I really thought he did good in this movie in that role. So yeah.
And we've already talked about John Mitchum, who played Elmer, his partner in crime, basically learning to become a traveling salesman, like John Carradine's character Jasper Hawkes. But there's a third actor in this film, um, Joi Lansing, who plays a character named Joy, and there are really only two reasons that she's in this film.
Because of her aviation ability.
Yes, her flying technique. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, when you see, if you have not seen this film, you will know exactly why they put her in this film. Her and every other of one of the young ladies.
The biker
She's a
chick.
pilot in this film. Do what?
The biker chicks, yeah.
Yeah, the biker chicks in this movie. Yeah, they're all in here for one reason only. Um,
That was
there's no
For Kendall's pleasure.
no. There aren't any bad scenes in this film.
Dude, there are nothing but bad scenes in this film.
Well,
What are you talking
what
about?
I'm talking about sex scenes. There's nothing like that
Okay.
in this film.
I was gonna say,
It's
what?
safe to
What you
watch.
say, movie?
It's safe to watch with kids. There is one kind of intimate scene between a couple, but nothing wilder than anything you can see on regular television. But yeah, they definitely knew what they had when they cast Joy Lansing in this film, and they used that to its maximum. And so yeah, that's pretty much yeah. I don't know what else to say about her.
I want to make a note of this. Did you notice all the King Kong references in here?
I remember at the very end, the obvious one was the quote. "'Twas
They
beauty that killed the beast." I mean, that was obvious.
These filmmakers, they must have like really loved the movie King Kong. But as I was watching it, I've seen this movie several times over the years, but this time I decided to take some notes because
Yeah.
we do a podcast. We got to
Right.
know a little bit about it, or we got to sound like we do anyway. So I wrote down a few things. I noticed several things that they borrowed from King Kong, the 1933 King Kong movie. And, the girl tied between
Tied
the two
up,
trees, and they're giving her up as an offering, but not to Kong, but to Bigfoot. Carradine, he's planning to capture Bigfoot and put him on display in public to get rich, just like they did with Kong. And I noticed Carradine even he has that line where he calls Bigfoot the eighth wonder of the world, just like they did with Kong. They called him the eighth wonder of the world. And then later he's even got that line or he says that Beauty and the Beast was his idea for marketing the girl, Joi Lansing, and Bigfoot, you know. So yeah, right out of, and then one last thing, even the poster itself has on there what it say, best movie since King Kong or something like that on the poster. So yeah, they were
the greatest monster since King Kong.
Yeah. Greatest one since King Kong, which was a lie. But they believed it. They were making King Kong here.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the poster, it's typical. It shows it's an action shot of Bigfoot flinging a motorcycle, and he doesn't fling any motorcycles in this movie.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the poster sells it. I'll tell you what, though, we jump into the poster. This is one of my favorite Bigfoot posters of all time. It's so iconic. I mean,
it is a cool poster.
Good looking poster, man. Like you said, it just shows a giant Bigfoot who looks nothing like the ones in the movie. You know, in fact, the Bigfoot on the poster looks way better than what they have in the movie. But yeah, a big giant Bigfoot holding a motorcycle and its rider up over his head, like getting ready to chunk it. And then you got all the cast around him, and even some guys like shooting guns at him and stuff. Real cool poster. But what gets me is that one line on there that says "breeds with anything."
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, and that's one of the plot points we didn't bring up.
Yeah.
They capture these women to impregnate them to continue their race. They're dying off.
Right.
That's the one thing that Joi Lansing's character contributes to the film. She figures out why they're capturing all these women. But yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of dying race, they kind of hinted to like some Native American folklore and stuff, and that this was a whole race of beings out there. And they had that mountain that something on top of that mountain that all go ahead. I say it's not a spoiler. I mean, this movie was made in 1970. So if you haven't seen it, too bad. You know, there's more than one Bigfoot in here. It's a whole race of beings. And they happen to, these bikers happen to come across the females get captured, and then the bikers have to go try to rescue them from this race of beings out in the woods. But yeah, we talked about the actors, but we didn't talk about the actual performance, the acting. So what was your take on the acting in this film?
Outside of John Carradine and Ken Maynard, it was pretty terrible.
I thought Mitchum did a good job. He was kind of
okay.
Not the best, but he was okay, you know.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, the women especially, man.
There was one.
Oh my goodness, she was horrible.
There was one of the bikers, the biker chicks. I can't remember her name, but she was one of the blonde ones. She was just so dry with her delivery, and she just had a blank look on her face the entire time. Yeah. And then there's the biker who gets drunk and uses dynamite. You know, it's the idiot biker is what I call him. I'm sure he had a name. I didn't take note of it, but yeah, the idiot biker. He's just not that convincing. Yeah. Overall, yeah, it was terrible. The acting was really bad in this film.
I agree with you, man. I agree.
The cinematography was really bad in this film.
Yeah. Okay. Let's jump to that. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's what you expect from a movie in the 70s, you know, and this was the early 70s. This is probably I bet they started filming like in 69, you know. So this was a really old movie. So a film crew back then, with what they had to work with for the budget, because this wasn't a big budget film at all. It's what you would expect, you know. But I'll tell you, the biker scenes, that was horrible. They were so shaky, man. I expected more from a cinematography crew in the 70s than what they gave us with the bikers. That was horrible. So shaky, man. Bad. A lot of out of focus shots.
The day for night was terrible.
Yeah. But I'll tell you one shot that I did really like, and it's when it's early in the movie. It's when Mitchum's girlfriend, I forgot her name, but she goes walking into the woods, and there's a track dolly tracking shot of her. The camera's on one side of all the trees, and she's walking, weaving in and out, and that camera stays with her, tracking her up a hill, back down a hill. I mean, it's a long tracking shot. They
Yeah.
must have had a lot of footage of track, set up out there because it was good. It was well done. It caught my attention. Wasn't the best, but it's something that really caught my attention. I
Yeah.
thought it was well
Well,
done.
I know the transfer that I saw of the film was by Cheesy Productions. And if you've, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with
Oh
Cheesy.
yeah,
They get their hands on older films and they make sometimes illegal copies of them.
yeah,
One of the most famous ones was The Legend of Boggy Creek, and it's like the old television. I don't remember the format, but
right.
it's old TV format. You lose part of the sides of the
Sure, yeah.
screen,
They cut it. They kind of squish it like.
and it was really dark. It was kind of hard to watch sometimes to see stuff. But the lighting itself throughout the film, there was never any consistency to the light. It would be, the middle of the night, but it would be bright. And in the next scene, they would cut to another scene and it would be pitch black. And then they would cut back and it would be kind of blue. The
Yeah.
background would be kind of blue and just no consistency whatsoever. The audio at least on the transfer that I saw was terrible as well. But again, it was a cheesy production. And cheesy does everything on the cheap. So it didn't shock me. I can't really fault them for the audio, but you can't deny the terrible lighting. Can't deny
Speaking of
that.
audio, while you're on the subject, part of audio is music. Let's talk about that music track.
You know what? You're probably gonna laugh at me, but I actually dug the music in this film.
Dude, I loved it.
There's
It was almost crazy, like 60 style music.
Yeah,
It had that fast drum roll beat on all the songs, and like kind
and it
of
had the go-go dancing with the
yeah,
bikers. It's just
like a go-go soundtrack. I
I
loved it. It was
enjoy that
cheesy.
music.
It was
So
cheesy, bad music, but
Yeah.
it fit this movie. It did.
yep, I really enjoyed the music.
That added to my pleasure of watching
Yeah.
this film. Just the
Absolutely,
music. So
absolutely.
yeah, we're kind of on the same page here.
Now I watched it with captions on because the audio was so wonky. And at one point in the film, it pops up at the bottom of the screen, intense folk music. It was describing, and it was like this heavy plodding guitar, country music type stuff. But yeah, intense folk music. I think that's going to be my go-to now. Anytime we review one of these films, oh, intense folk music. But yeah, that was probably outside of Carradine, the biggest highlight for me in this film was the go-go music.
So did you have a favorite film? I mean, a favorite
My
scene?
favorite scene,
Yeah.
probably whenever they discover, spoiler alert, when they discover the dead creature for the first time, the biker and his girlfriend, and you see the beast, one of the beasts in the background looking at him, and you see those bloodshot eyes, and that's one thing we haven't talked about,
Right.
is the creatures
We're talking
all
about
look
the costumes and stuff. The
slightly
looks.
different.
Yeah.
They all look slightly different on purpose. That was intentional.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that was probably my favorite scene. Whenever we see the dead one and the beast watching them in the background, um, that was probably my favorite scene in the film. How about you? I'm pretty sure it involved Joi Lansing.
Well, it's kind of the final shootout scene where Bigfoot's carrying her over his shoulder. Like, that I don't know. Man, my love for 50s movies, sci-fi and horror stuff from the 50s, just about every one of those movies ends up with the monster or the robot or the creature, whatever, carrying a scantily clad woman.
Yep.
Almost all of them. And that scene right there kind of threw me back to those childhood memories, watching those movies. So yeah, that was that was kind of my favorite scene right there. And I think that's what the poster should have been was, like Robot Monster, all those with him holding the chick. But yeah, I think that was my favorite. And that whole shootout scene, where that took place.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you're talking about the looks of the creature. You want to go ahead and jump to talk
Yeah.
about the costumes?
We'll start with Bigfoot himself, because Bigfoot is his own character in this film. And he looked the most ape-like out of the creatures. His mouth, I saw a little bit of mouth movement on the suit, but it was basically a full body hairy costume with like an ape-like face. And then you had the newer Bigfoot type creatures, the newer Sasquatch, who looked kind of ape-like and kind of human. They had the bloodshot eyes. And then you had the young one,
Yeah.
who had, it was a human. I mean, you could tell it was a person with makeup on their face.
Right.
You know,
It's like
they
face
had
paint.
paint apps on their face.
Yeah.
And here it looked like Chaka almost
Yeah.
from Land of the Lost.
But with jet
Youngest
black hair.
Right, black hair.
Right. Short hair
And-
Bigfoots with jet black hair.
Yeah. And they all had large feet too.
Yeah.
You know, very large feet. So yeah, that's and honestly,
You know what they say about creatures with big feet, right? They wear big shoes.
I thought you were gonna say they eat Bigfoot cheese feet. I thought the suits were actually, considering it was 1970, I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah. Wasn't bad.
I don't have any complaints about the suits. I really like the fact that they looked different, because these creatures are breeding with human females.
Yeah.
And so you get them slightly more human the younger they get.
Right.
I thought that was pretty slick. I don't know if that was intentional or not, as far as the makeup department goes. But yeah, they look more and more human the younger they got.
Now, when Chris Mitchum and his girlfriend, they're walking through the woods and they find that grave at the beginning, and they pull back the dirt. Man, that mask looked so rubbery, you know.
Well, you could
And
see
even when he
whenever they would
touches
touch
it, yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
like wiggles a little, like rubber. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like, oh man, this is what we're watching.
That was the worst Bigfoot in the movie.
Yeah.
Was that one with the dead
I
one?
thought that was kind of funny, but I liked it. It's cheesy. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I like John Schneider's Snow Beast so much. It was a rubber costume, and you could tell, you know. Yeah, so that just adds stuff for my pleasure. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, the motorcycle gang was not threatening at all.
No.
They talked like they were this bad gang. You know, all the locals. Oh,
Right.
this horrible gang of motorcycles.
Definitely wasn't Hell's Angels.
No, that was Yeah, not Hell's Angels. That wasn't even Hell's pet kitten. I mean, they were the least
Like a
scary.
garden club that got them some
Exactly.
scooters or something and decided to go on a road trip.
It's like something you remember the old Encyclopedia Brown books?
Oh yeah.
They look like the kids on the covers of those old Encyclopedia Brown books with motorcycles. That's what they reminded me of. I see these kids riding around. It's like Encyclopedia Brown and the Bigfoot mystery. But yeah, so I guess, is there anything else you want to cover before we move on to
I
our
think we
ratings?
covered everything I could think of.
All right. Do you want to rate it first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first, man.
All right.
I want to
All
see
right,
how
well-
close we landed on this one.
Well, that being said, I'm going to remind everybody that our film rating scale is Bigfoot tracks, with 1 to 10 Bigfoot tracks, with 1 being the worst Bigfoot film ever made and 10 being the greatest Bigfoot film ever made, which, in my opinion, is The Legend of Augie Creek. And for 1970s Bigfoot, John Carradine alone deserves 2 tracks. Just because he's John Carradine and I love him so much. I'll throw in a half track for Ken Maynard and Joi Lansing each. So that gives me 3 tracks. And that funky soundtrack saved this movie for me. And I'm going to give it 4 Bigfoot tracks out of 10. It's not a great movie, but if you like that groovy 60s sound, watch this film just for the music, if nothing else. Yeah. So I'm giving it 4 Bigfoot tracks out of 10, but I do recommend folks check this one out. It's worth watching at least once.
Yeah. Me too. I recommend everybody watching this just to see. You know, I don't know if you saw that Facebook post I did on our Film Squatch page, but it said like, "Yes, Virginia, there's a Santa Claus." I said, "Yes, there are Bigfoot movies before The Legend of Boggy Creek, and this is one of them." You know, so yeah, check it out and see. You know, when you say Bigfoot, everybody says, "Oh, like Legend of Boggy Creek." When you say Bigfoot movie,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, Legend of Boggy Creek. That kind of like restarted all the craze with Hollywood and low
Right.
budget independent filmmakers and that. But yeah, but this was before then. And yeah, there were even Bigfoot movies before this one, you know, a lot.
Yep.
Watch our show, listen to our show, and you'll learn all about them. But yeah, I definitely like Carradine in this one. It was cheesy, the acting was cheesy, the music was cheesy, but this was a lot of fun. This is something I've watched it numerous times. I don't know if it's on Blu-ray, but if it is, I'm gonna try to track down a copy because I definitely want it. I definitely want a copy of this poster. Like I said earlier, it's just so iconic. I've seen this one all my life. This poster, I definitely want to get it and put it on my wall because it deserves a spot on the wall in my house. So a lot of nostalgia there for me. I've definitely seen it a lot better Bigfoot movies than this one, definitely. But I've seen a lot worse too, and we've talked about some of those. This is like a kind of a cult favorite movie, though. You know,
Yeah.
it only gets better every time I watch it.
Kind of like Demon Warp.
Kind of like what?
You know, Demon Warp. People
yeah,
that
yeah,
love it, and everybody else hates it.
Yep,
It's
yep.
one of those type of films.
So I'll tell you, man, with everything, with the actors, the cheese adds a lot for me. It does. The rubber mask, everything. I want to give this one a 5. I say
Okay.
it's not the best, it's not the worst, but I think being right there in the middle is kind of a good place for me to put it. And it's just nostalgic. But yeah, definitely I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay, cool. Well, there you have it, folks. That's our rating on 1970s Bigfoot. And we want your opinion on this. So in the comments section, if you're looking at this on YouTube or whenever we post this on Facebook and Instagram, get in those comment sections if you've watched this film and tell us what you think about it. Message us if you want to, and let us know what you think about this film.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you're looking for a cheesy Bigfoot, this is definitely one. So is the
now,
movie.
when we're recording this, Patrick, we've got 2 major events coming up very soon. As a matter of fact, we're recording this on Sunday, July the 6th. 6 days from now, July the 12th, which would be next Saturday, this coming July 12th, 2025, we are going to be at the Unveiling the Beast, which celebrates the Beast of Trinity, Texas, which is going to be coming out soon.
Can't wait.
I don't know if they've officially hadn't announced a release date.
No,
Maybe
but
they'll
I
do it
saw
at
they
the
posted
party.
this. They posted this morning that it's going to be the premiere will be the summer of this year. So
Okay, so it's coming quick.
coming up
then.
soon. Yeah,
And I don't know about you, Patrick, but I'm excited to see this movie.
I am.
We've talked to Terry Weaver
Yep.
and
Lizzie Camp.
Lizzie Camp. We talked to both of them about this film.
Right.
We're going to see both of them again. We're going to actually you've already met them face to face. I'll finally get to meet them this coming
I got
weekend.
to go on their actual one of their shooting days on their set, and I actually got to see their Bigfoot. I got to work with them. They put me in a couple of scenes behind, helping them out with the scenes they were shooting that night in Texas, and I had a blast. But yeah, I got to see this Bigfoot, and I was sworn to secrecy by Terry Weaver, and I will take that to my grave.
Did he make you
He
sign a
tells me I
non-disclosure
can
agreement?
talk about the looks of his Bigfoot. I won't tell anybody, but you're gonna like it.
But yeah, they're going to have a big bash introducing everybody, and they've been teasing the film ever since they announced the Unveiling the Beast. party that they're having. They have been teasing, with stills from the film, little clips of interviews with some of the cast and crew, and I can't wait for this weekend to check it out.
I'll tell you what, I'll bring a pocket full of Filmsquatch stickers with me, and if anybody comes up saying, hey, you're Filmsquatch, blah blah blah, we like you, whatever, I'll give you a sticker just for coming up and talking to us.
Yeah, and that's the Beast of Trinity, Texas, and it's unveiling the beast. I'm pulling up the information on right here. It's going to take place at the Manor in Trinity, Texas, at 2005 Pinecrest Drive. The VIP tickets, I believe, are sold out, but there are still some general tickets available, I believe, as of this recording.
Today that there are some I saw on their site.
Yeah, as of this recording, they're still available. So if you guys want to check it out, be sure to be there. And then next month, Patrick, we have something that's going to be happening in a little town in Arkansas, right? Something I'm sure some of our listeners have heard of.
Right.
A little town starts with an F.
A little town that is
not
famous
Fayetteville.
For a three-toed Bigfoot.
I think you're talking about Falk, Arkansas,
I
right?
said three-toed Bigfoot. Yep, Falk, Arkansas. And we are teaming up with our friends over there at the Boggy Creek Boutique in Falk, and we're bringing you the Boggy Creek Monster Mingle. And it's going to be a full day, all that Saturday. We're going to have vendors, hopefully a lot of vendors with Bigfoot items. Of course, the Boggy Creek Boutique itself has tons of Bigfoot items you can go in there and buy. We're going to have some music, some live entertainment. We're going to have a food truck. We're trying to get some Bigfoot authors out there, and we're going to have a lot of Bigfoot filmmakers, including Mitchum, who made the Bogman, and we're going to be premiering his latest Bigfoot short film that is a prequel to the Bogman. It's called Bog Manifest. And we're going to have at least 10 Bigfoot short films that we'll be showing there. We'll be screening. We'll have we're calling it a pop-up short film festival. So we have 10 Bigfoot films you can come watch. And they're all different. Yep. Every one of them is different. Some you'll laugh, some you'll cry, some you'll wish you kissed that money goodbye. But yeah, we have something for everybody. Come see them.
We're going to have two of my favorites, Cryptid Crisis and Bigfoot, 2 words, Bigfoot. And they're going to be shown. And Jeff and Cindy Sheldon with the Boggy Creek Boutique are going to be throwing it down for us. And they are 2 awesome people. You could not meet 2 friendlier people, I don't think, at least. They've treated me and Patrick like family from day one, and we appreciate them. We love them to death. And I can't wait to see them again. I haven't seen them since, oh gosh, it was earlier this year. Oh, in April? I think it was the last time we got to see them. And can't wait to see them again. So, and this is a free event, right, Patrick?
Maybe, I guess. I'm thinking it's free, unless the Sheldons put a price tag on it that can't be beat.
You can't put a price on fun, Patrick.
Yep.
And also just keep an eye out for us at conventions all over the South. We're liable to pop up. We're hopefully we'll get a few more bookings before the end of the year, and we'll get to see you guys. Y'all come out and come say hello to us and tell us exactly what you think about our podcast, and tell us the films you love, the films you hate, and everything else like that. And for all of you international folks that listen to the show, we appreciate each and every one of you as well. And if you would like us to come to your country, pay for our flights. And we will gladly come.
There's some food.
Yeah, flights and food. I mean, we're fat, so we will fly first class. If that, we're totally cool with flying first class to another country. But we would love to see you guys too. If any of our international listeners are in the Louisiana or Texas area, let us know. And
Yep. Fly us in
we
there
can hang
too.
out with you. If you want to hang out with us, we'll hang out with you. So, yep. Patrick, do you have any numbers for us as far as listeners?
I do not this
go
time.
around.
I do not this time, but I will on our next episode. I'll have a big update for us.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
I just want to mention last week we premiered the second issue of the Filmsquatch Quarterly magazine, the digital magazine, and just go to our website or go to our Facebook page or other pages and click on the link and watch it. We've got some cool stories in there about Bigfoot movies. We interviewed some of the filmmakers behind the movies. Kendall provided us with 10 new trivia questions about old Bigfoot movies. See if you can stump the crazy Cajun there with his wisdom. We've got a cheesy,
One of those
easy comic book, Filmsquatch comic book in there. But check it out.
One of those questions.
We'll be putting together our next one for the next quarter. So if you have a film and you want to be interviewed or something for it, we'll put you in the magazine and on the podcast. So get in touch with us.
Absolutely. And so I guess with that being said, Patrick, I've got to know if me and all of my crazy biker friends go cruising up in Northern California on motorcycles and we have a beach blanket party and go dance through the night. If any of our lovely young bikini clad friends go missing and we're in the woods looking for them, what should we do?
There's one thing in particular that I would tell you. Watch your back. Bigfoot's out there.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Filmsquatch. If you like the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and tell your friends about us. Make sure to like us on Facebook and join in on some of our interactive discussions. Remember, Bigfoot is out there. Watch your back.